Come closer and rest for a moment. If your body feels heavy tonight, if your heart is tired in ways you cannot explain, this moment is for you. I see the pain you have been carrying quietly, the nights when sleep would not come, the prayers you whispered without words. Tonight, you do not have to endure anymore. These healing psalms for sleep are not just sounds in the dark. They are my touch reaching you gently, right where you are. As you listen, let Psalm 6 become a soft place for your soul to lie down. This is not about forcing healing or demanding strength. This is about letting go, letting my word carry you into rest, letting your breathing slow, letting the weight leave your chest. Through this Bible for sleep, my healing works quietly, deeply, even while you sleep. If you are here because you are hurting, because you need comfort, because you long for healing in the night, type Amen in the comments as a small act of faith. You are not alone in this place. Many are resting here with you. Stay with me through this entire journey of Psalms. By the time this video ends, your mind will feel calmer, your heart lighter, and your sleep deeper than it has been in a long while. Healing does not always arrive loudly. Often it comes while you rest. And if you desire more nights like this, more moments of peace, comfort, and gentle scripture, subscribe to Sacred Serenity now. Remain here with me tonight. Let these psalms heal you as you sleep. Psalm 30. I know what it is to lift you from a place so deep that even hope seemed too heavy to carry. I have seen you in moments when the light felt far away, when silence pressed against your chest and the night felt longer than it should. You did not fall because you were weak. You fell because you endured longer than most could. And I have not forgotten you there. There were days when you believed the pit was the end, days when joy felt like a memory from another life. Yet listen closely now, as your breathing slows and your body settles into rest. What felt like the end was not the end. I am the one who restores life, not in a rush, not with force, but with a gentleness that does not startle the wounded heart. Tonight, as these psalms for healing sleep flow softly into the quiet, allow yourself to stop watching for danger. You do not need to stay alert anymore. You do not need to brace yourself for disappointment. This is a place of restoration. This is a place where mourning loosens its grip and quiet joy begins to return, not as excitement, but as peace. I know the sound of your sighs when no one else is listening. I know the weight behind your closed eyes. Psalm 30 is not a shout of victory. It is a whisper after survival. It is the moment when tears finally dry, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer alone in your pain. As you listen, let this psalm become a gentle companion, walking with you from sorrow into rest. There was a time when you felt lowered, when circumstances pulled you down and the ground beneath you gave way. You cried out, perhaps not with words, but with exhaustion, and I heard you. I lifted you up, even when you did not feel it happening. Restoration often begins quietly, beneath the surface, long before the heart dares to believe again. Do not rush this moment. Restoration does not hurry, and healing does not shout. It arrives like dawn, slowly, almost unnoticed, until suddenly the darkness is no longer in control. As you breathe in and out, let your body soften into this Christian sleep meditation. There is nothing to fix right now. There is nothing to understand. There is only rest. I turn mourning into dancing, but not the kind that demands energy from tired bones. I turn mourning into a gentle sway of the soul, a loosening of grief, a softening of sorrow. I remove the heavy garment of despair and replace it with quiet gratitude, the kind that feels like warmth spreading through your chest. You may still remember the pain. Healing does not erase memory, but it changes the weight of it. What once crushed you will no longer define you. What once broke your heart will no longer rule your nights. Even now, as this Bible reading for sleep continues, your heart is learning to trust rest again. There were moments when you felt abandoned, when the silence made you question whether anyone saw your struggle. But I was there, watching, waiting for the right time to lift you. I did not delay because I forgot you. I waited because restoration must be received, not forced. Your soul needed time to loosen its grip on fear. Let this psalm wash over you slowly. Let each word settle like a blanket over your thoughts. You do not need to analyze it. You do not need to repeat it perfectly. Simply let it be present with you, like a steady flame beside you in the night. This is nighttime Bible comfort, and it is meant to be felt more than understood. Your tears were not wasted. They watered the ground where new life now begins. And though you may not see the full picture yet, you will. For now, it is enough to rest in the knowing that you have been lifted, even if your feet are still finding their strength. There was a season when joy felt impossible, when laughter seemed distant and lightness felt like betrayal of your pain. But joy does not erase sorrow, it grows beside it. Quiet joy honors what you survived without pulling you back into it. As you rest, allow joy to return without effort, without guilt, without expectation. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. Feel the weight of your body sinking gently into rest. This is sacred serenity rest, a place where your soul is allowed to be still. You are not being tested here, you are being cared for. I have heard your cries in the night. I have seen the way you held yourself together when everything inside felt undone. And now, I invite you to lay that burden down. You do not need to carry it into sleep. Let me carry it for you. Psalm 30 speaks of turning weeping into joy, but the turning does not happen in a moment. It happens through nights like this, through quiet listening, through surrendering the need to control the outcome. Healing continues even while you sleep. Restoration deepens while your mind rests. There is no rush to feel better. There is no requirement to wake up transformed. The promise is not instant change, but faithful care. I am with you through every stage of healing, from the deepest pit to the gentlest breath of peace. You may notice your thoughts slowing now. You may feel a subtle easing in your chest. That is not imagination. That is rest returning. That is your nervous system remembering safety. That is your soul responding to love that does not demand anything in return. Stay here. Let the song continue. Let the words become background, like a steady river flowing beside you as you drift towards sleep. You are safe to rest. You are safe to heal. You are safe to let go. I restore life, not just to bodies, but to weary hearts and tired minds. I restore the parts of you that learn to hide, the parts that learn to endure without hope. Even now, restoration is unfolding quietly within you. Do not worry if you drift in and out of awareness. Do not worry if sleep comes suddenly or slowly. Everything happening now is enough. This is not a performance. This is rest. As the night deepens, remember this. You were not forgotten in the pit. You were not overlooked in your pain. And you are not alone now. I am here. restoring you gently, patiently, lovingly. Let this be the night when your soul rests without fear. Let this be the night when hope returns softly, without pressure. Let this be the night when you stop fighting and allow healing to do its quiet work. Sleep now, wrapped in these psalms for healing sleep. Sleep knowing that restoration does not rush, and neither do I. I remain with you through this night and into the peace that follows. Psalm 103. My mercy reaches deeper than sickness, deeper than pain, deeper than the names you have been given for what troubles your body and your heart. There are things doctors can see, measure, and describe, and there are things no scan can capture. The quiet weariness, the fear you carry into the night, the questions you never say aloud. I see all of it. Nothing about you is hidden from me, and nothing about your suffering is insignificant in my eyes. Tonight, as you rest and listen, you do not need to separate your body from your soul. They are not strangers to each other. What weighs on one often presses into the other. That is why my healing is never partial. I do not only mend flesh, I restore the places inside you that have grown tired from enduring too much for too long. These healing scriptures for sleep are not meant to be rushed through or analyzed. They are meant to be received slowly, like warmth spreading through cold hands. There have been nights when you lay awake, listening to your own thoughts, wondering why healing seems delayed. You may have prayed with hope at first, then with effort, and finally with silence. I have been present through every one of those stages. Healing does not always arrive as a sudden miracle. Often, it comes as permission to rest, permission to breathe, permission to stop carrying what was never meant to be carried alone. Psalm 103 speaks of compassion that remembers your frailty. I know how easily you become tired. I know how your strength fades when pain lingers. I know how discouragement settles in when answers do not come quickly. That is why my mercy does not demand that you be strong tonight. It invites you to lie down and be held. As you listen to this Bible reading for sleep, let your breathing slow. Feel the weight of your body supported beneath you. There is no need to hold yourself together here. There is no need to rehearse tomorrow's worries or yesterday's regrets. This moment is enough. This moment is safe. I heal what doctors see, and I heal what they cannot. I heal the ache behind your eyes that comes from too many restless nights. I heal the tension in your chest that tightens when fear whispers. I heal the disappointment that settles into your bones when progress feels invisible. Even when healing feels incomplete, my presence remains complete. You may be tempted to measure healing by what changes quickly, but some of the deepest restoration happens quietly, beneath awareness, while you sleep. Your body responds to rest, your mind responds to peace, your soul responds to love. That is why these healing scriptures for sleep matter. They create a space where your whole being can begin to recover. Forgiveness is part of healing, though it is often misunderstood. Forgiveness is not pretending pain did not happen. It is releasing the grip pain has on your future. When you allow forgiveness to flow through you, you are not excusing harm. You are loosening the chains that keep wounds open. Let forgiveness and grace wash through you like warm light, gentle and steady, asking nothing in return. There may be people you feel you should have been able to forgive by now. There may be moments you replay, wishing you had done something differently. Healing does not ask you to erase the past. It asks you to stop bleeding from it. Tonight, you are allowed to rest without resolving everything. My compassion is not distant. It is near, attentive, and patient. Like a shepherd who stays close to a wounded sheep, I remain beside you, especially when your steps feel unsteady. This is Jesus' compassion meditation, not because you are broken beyond repair, but because you are deeply loved and worth gentle care. As Psalm 103 unfolds, notice how it speaks not of punishment, but of mercy, not of condemnation, but of kindness. I do not approach you with disappointment. I approach you with understanding. I know your limits. I remember that you are fragile, and I do not shame you for it. You may have learned to push through pain, to minimize your needs, to tell yourself others have it worse. But pain does not disappear when it is ignored. Tonight, you do not need to compare your suffering to anyone else's. Your experience matters. Your healing matters. Let the words settle into the quiet of the night. Let them move past your thoughts and into your body. Feel your shoulders soften. Feel your jaw unclench. Feel your breath deepen. This is what it means to sleep in God's presence, not striving, not proving, simply being held. There is a kind of healing that happens when you stop watching the clock, when you stop counting symptoms, when you stop asking how long it will take. That healing is not about control. It is about trust. Trust that even now, something good is happening within you. You may not wake up tomorrow completely changed, but you may wake up a little lighter, a little calmer, a little less afraid. And that is enough. Healing often begins with small shifts that grow quietly over time. Psalm 103 reminds you to remember my benefits, not as a checklist, but as reassurance. I forgive, I heal, I redeem, I renew. These are not promises meant to pressure you. They are invitations meant to comfort you. I forgive the ways you have blamed yourself for what was never your fault. I forgive the harsh words you have spoken to yourself in moments of despair. I forgive the doubts you carry about whether you deserve peace. Grace does not wait for perfection. It meets you exactly where you are. Healing is not only about removing pain. Sometimes it is about increasing peace so pain no longer defines you. Sometimes it is about restoring dignity to parts of you that felt weak or broken. Sometimes it is about reminding you that you are more than your illness, more than your exhaustion, more than your fear. As you drift deeper into rest, allow these healing scriptures for sleep to become a gentle background to your breathing. You do not need to stay awake to receive them. Your soul listens even when your mind rests. I know the nights when anxiety visits uninvited. I know the fear that comes with uncertainty. I know the loneliness that can surface in the quiet. That is why I stay with you here. You are not navigating this alone. Sleep does not mean surrendering hope. It means trusting that hope does not depend on constant effort. While you sleep, your body repairs itself. While you sleep, your mind releases tension. While you sleep, your soul rests in my presence. There is nothing weak about needing rest. There is nothing shameful about healing slowly. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling tired. Tonight, you are allowed to be exactly as you are. As Psalm 103 continues, let its rhythm guide you gently towards sleep. Let its words become softer, less defined, like waves fading into the shore. This is sacred serenity, a place where scripture meets rest, where faith meets gentleness, where healing unfolds quietly. I remain with you through this night. I remain with you through every stage of healing. Whether progress feels visible or hidden, my compassion does not waver. You are held, you are seen, and you are loved beyond measure. Sleep now in my presence. Let grace cover you. Let mercy surround you. Let healing continue its quiet work, deeper than you can see, steadier than you can feel. I am here, and I will not leave you. Psalm 41. When you feel weak, I do not turn away. I do not measure your strength or ask how much longer you can endure. I come closer. I lower myself to where you are, and I sustain you gently. There are seasons when simply getting through the day takes more courage than climbing mountains, and I know this season well. Tonight, you are not asked to recover quickly, to improve noticeably, or to prove anything at all. You are asked only to rest. I do not rush your recovery. Healing is not a race, and rest is not wasted time. Even now, as your body lies still and your thoughts begin to slow, I am near, closer than your breath, closer than the weight you feel in your limbs. This is why rest is holy tonight, because it places you back into my care, where you no longer have to hold yourself together. There have been nights when weakness felt frightening, when your body did not respond the way it once did, when energy disappeared without warning. You may have wondered if this weakness would last forever, if this fragile state was now your new normal. I have seen the fear that rises in those moments. I have heard the unspoken questions, and I am here to answer them, not with urgency, but with presence. Psalm 41 speaks into nights like this. It does not shout strength. It does not demand courage. It offers comfort. It speaks of being sustained, not suddenly restored, but gently upheld. That is how I work with you. I do not lift you beyond what you can bear. I support you exactly where you are. As these Bible verses for healing sleep flow quietly through the night, let them settle into your body. Let them reach places medicine cannot reach and words cannot fully explain. There is a kind of healing that happens simply because you are no longer alone with your pain. That healing is happening now. I see you on your sickbed, whether that bed is physical or emotional. I see the fatigue that lingers even after rest. I see the disappointment that comes when progress feels slow. I see the moments when you pretend to be stronger than you feel, because you do not want to burden anyone else. You are not a burden to me. You never have been. Tonight, you do not need to be brave. You do not need to stay positive. You do not need to understand why this season came. You are allowed to rest without explanation. You are allowed to let your body be heavy. You are allowed to let your thoughts wander and then fade. This is Christian relaxation in its purest form. Not escape, but trust. When weakness humbles you, it can also open a door to gentler living, a door to deeper compassion, a door to realizing that worth is not measured by productivity. You are valuable even when you can do nothing at all, especially then. As you listen, you may feel your muscles slowly unclenching, your jaw may soften, your breathing may deepen without effort. This is not something you have to force. This is your body responding to safety. This is peaceful scripture listening, doing its quiet work. I sustain you not only by easing pain, but by calming fear. Fear tightens the body. Fear drains strength. Fear convinces you that rest is dangerous, that letting go means falling apart. But you are not falling. You are being held. There may be people who do not understand why you need so much rest. There may be voices, even your own, that say you should be better by now, stronger by now, further along by now. Those voices do not speak truth tonight. I speak truth, and my truth says you are allowed to heal slowly. Healing does not always look like improvement. Sometimes it looks like endurance with grace. Sometimes it looks like learning how to receive care instead of always giving it. Sometimes it looks like finally admitting you are tired and letting that be okay. Psalm 41 reminds you that I am attentive to the weak. I do not overlook them. I do not grow impatient with them. I do not withdraw when progress is slow. I remain, even on the sick bed, even in the long night. even when hope feels thin. Let this be a night when you stop negotiating with your pain. Stop asking it to leave faster. Stop arguing with your body. Instead, let compassion enter. Compassion for yourself. Compassion for your limits. Compassion for the season you are in. As these Bible verses for healing sleep continue, you may drift in and out of awareness. You may hear words clearly for a moment and then lose them as sleep approaches. That is perfectly fine. Your soul listens even when your mind rests. You do not need to stay awake to receive what you need. There is holiness in this stillness. Holiness, not because you are doing something spiritual, but because you are allowing me to do what only I can do. Rest is holy tonight, because it places you back into my hands. I sustain you when you cannot sustain yourself. I support you when standing feels impossible. I remain beside you when the night feels long. You are not forgotten in this weakness. You are seen with tenderness. If your body aches, I am aware. If your thoughts feel heavy, I am present. If your heart feels discouraged, I am listening. Nothing about this moment is wasted. Even now, restoration is quietly unfolding. You may not feel strong tomorrow. You may not feel different at all. That does not mean nothing is happening. Healing often works beneath the surface, strengthening roots before lifting branches. Trust the unseen work. Let go of the need to track progress. Let go of the pressure to wake up improved. Tonight is not about outcomes. It is about rest. It is about allowing yourself to be sustained. As your breathing slows, remember this. You are not healing alone. You are not resting alone. You are not weak beyond care. I am here, gently sustaining you, moment by moment. Psalm 41 does not promise a quick escape. It promises presence, and presence is what you need most right now. Not answers, not timelines. Presence. Stay here in this peaceful scripture listening. Let the words fade into the background like a steady fire nearby. Let your body sink deeper into the bed. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. You are allowed to sleep without fear. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to be weak without being ashamed. I sustain you gently. I do not rush your recovery. I remain near. Sleep now, wrapped in comfort. Sleep knowing that even in weakness, you are supported. Sleep knowing that rest is not failure, it is faith. And I will watch over you through this night, sustaining you until morning comes. Psalm 147, I collect every tear. Not one has fallen unnoticed. Not one night of quiet sorrow has slipped past me unseen. You may have wiped your face in the dark, careful that no one would hear you cry, careful not to trouble the world with your pain. But I was there. I have always been there. Nothing you have lost is invisible to me, and nothing about your broken heart disqualifies you from love or rest. There are wounds that do not bleed, yet ache far longer than any physical pain. Loss that cannot be named easily. Absence that settles into the chest and makes breathing feel heavier than it should. You have carried grief quietly, learning how to function while something inside you felt fractured. Tonight, you do not need to be functional. Tonight, your heart is safe here. Psalm 147 speaks not to the hurried or the untouched, but to the broken-hearted, to those whose lives did not turn out the way they hoped, to those who loved deeply and lost painfully, to those who wake up strong enough to face the day, but fall apart when night finally arrives. This psalm is not rushed. It does not demand healing. It offers it gently, patiently, without pressure. He heals the broken-hearted. That healing does not arrive like a command. It arrives like presence. like sitting beside you in the quiet, like letting you feel what you feel without correction, letting your heart mend slowly, without fear of being judged for how long it takes. You may have tried to be brave for too long. Try to move on before you were ready. Try to silence your grief because you thought it had overstayed its welcome. But grief does not respond to force. It responds to compassion. And that is what I offer you now. As these broken-hearted healing psalms flow softly through the night, allow your chest to soften. Allow the tightness you have been holding to loosen just a little. You do not need to relive what hurt you. You do not need to explain it. You only need to rest in the truth that you are not alone with it anymore. I know what you lost, even if others never fully understood, even if they told you to be grateful, to be strong, to let it go. I know the shape of your loss. I know the weight of it. I know how it changed you, and I do not minimize it. There are memories that surface at night, uninvited. Faces, voices, moments you wish you could return to. Psalm 147 does not tell you to forget them. It tells you that you are held while you remember. That healing does not mean erasing the past, but learning how to live with it without bleeding anew each time. Let these words become a quiet companion beside you. This is Psalm 147 comfort, not meant to be analyzed, but felt, like a hand resting gently on your back, like a steady presence reminding you that your heart is still capable of peace, even if it does not feel that way yet. There is no timeline for emotional healing. Some wounds close quickly, others take seasons, and some become scars that remind you of both pain and survival. I do not rush your heart. I do not compare your healing to anyone else's. I meet you exactly where you are. As you listen, you may feel waves of emotion rise and fall. Sadness, relief, weariness. That is okay. Nothing is wrong with you. This is Jesus' emotional healing, not removing feeling, but making space for it to pass through safely. You are not weak because your heart was broken. You are human. You loved. You hoped. You opened yourself and something precious was lost or damaged. That does not make you fragile beyond repair. It makes you worthy of tenderness. There may be parts of you that learn to close off, to protect yourself from further hurt. That protection served you for a time, but tonight you are safe to soften again. You do not have to open everything, just enough to rest. As the Bible sleep therapy continues, allow the night to hold you. Allow your body to relax into the surface beneath you. Allow your breathing to find its own slow rhythm. You do not need to keep watch anymore. I gather the broken pieces without shame. I do not ask why they broke. I do not scold you for letting them fall. I simply begin the careful work of restoring what was lost, what was damaged, what was worn thin by sorrow. Psalm 147 reminds you that I bind up wounds. Binding is gentle work. It takes patience. It requires care. It cannot be rushed without causing further pain. That is how I treat your heart. You may wonder if you will ever feel whole again. Wholeness does not always mean returning to who you were before. Sometimes it means becoming someone new, shaped by pain, but not defined by it. That becoming happens quietly, often while you sleep. There is a holiness in grief when it is met with compassion instead of judgment, a sacredness in allowing yourself to rest, even when your heart feels heavy. This is Christian comfort, not as words, but as presence, not as advice, but as companionship. If tears come tonight, let them come. They are not a setback. They are part of healing. I collect every tear, not to remind you of pain, but to honor what mattered to you. Tears are evidence of love, of hope, of connection. You do not need to apologize for feeling too much. You do not need to justify your sadness. You do not need to explain why it still hurts. Your heart is safe here. As you drift deeper into rest, let the words fade into the background like a gentle fire burning nearby. You may not remember every verse. You may not stay awake for all of them. That is fine. Healing does not depend on your attention. It depends on my presence. I remain with you through the long nights and the quiet mornings, through the memories that ache and the moments of unexpected peace. I do not abandon you when grief returns. I walk with you through it. Sleep now, knowing that your broken heart is not a burden. It is a place where healing is already at work. Sleep knowing that nothing you have lost is invisible to me. Sleep knowing that mending does not require fear. These broken-hearted healing psalms are not here to fix you overnight. They are here to remind you that you are held, even in the pieces. Rest now. Let your heart mend slowly. I am here, and I will not leave you. Psalm 91. Stay under my wings tonight. Draw closer, without hesitation, without the need to look back over your shoulder. There is a place prepared for you here, a place where fear cannot follow and worry loses its voice. You do not need to stand guard anymore. You have done enough watching, enough anticipating, enough bracing yourself for what might go wrong. This night is different. This night is covered. I see how often you stay alert even when you are exhausted, how your mind refuses to rest, replaying possibilities, rehearsing dangers, scanning the darkness for threats that may never come. That way of living may have protected you once, but it has also cost you peace. Tonight, you are allowed to lay that vigilance down. You are allowed to sleep without guarding yourself. Psalm 91 is not a promise that life will never hurt you. It is a promise that you are never unprotected within it. It speaks of shelter, of refuge, of dwelling, not passing through quickly but remaining. To dwell under my shadow means you no longer live exposed. You no longer face the night alone. As these words begin to settle around you, let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your breath slow until it no longer feels like it has to outrun something. This Psalm 91 for sleep is not meant to energize you or stir you. It is meant to cover you, like a blanket drawn gently over a weary body. You have known nights when fear arrived unannounced. Fear of loss, fear of sickness, fear of harm, fear that something fragile would finally break. Even when nothing happened, your body remembered old alarms. I know those alarms. I know why they sound, and I do not shame you for them. I quiet them. No fear may follow you here. Fear has no authority in this place. It may knock at the edges of your thoughts, but it cannot enter. You are watched over, not distractedly, not distantly, watched with intention, with care, with love that does not sleep. There are dangers you can name and dangers you cannot. Threats you understand and threats you sense but cannot explain. Psalm 91 speaks to both. It speaks to the seen and the unseen, to the terrors that come in the night and the anxieties that arrive before dawn. You are covered from all sides. As you listen to these protection Bible verses, you do not need to picture worst-case scenarios to stay safe. You do not need to prepare yourself emotionally for pain that has not arrived. Protection does not depend on your awareness. It depends on my presence. I remain awake when you sleep. I watch the hours pass. I stand between you and what would overwhelm you. You do not have to check the locks of your mind again and again. You do not have to scan the darkness. You are not alone in it. There may be memories that taught you to be alert, experiences that convinced you rest was risky, that peace was temporary. Those lessons were learned in survival, not in safety. Tonight, you are not surviving, you are resting. Stay under my wings. Wings do not restrain, they shelter. They create a space where the vulnerable are not exposed, where warmth replaces tension, where rest becomes possible without effort. That is where you are now. As you sleep with God's word surrounding you, let it replace the inner voice that warns you to stay awake. Let it replace the tightness in your chest that prepares for impact. Let it replace the habit of listening for danger instead of peace. You may notice your thoughts slowing, becoming less sharp, less urgent. That is not weakness. That is your nervous system remembering safety. That is your body recognizing refuge. Psalm 91 speaks of arrows that fly by day and terrors that stalk by night. These words exist because fear is real, not because you are failing. But the psalm also speaks of nearness, of protection so close it feels like shade in the heat. You are not asked to deny fear. You are invited to dwell beyond it. I do not promise that nothing will ever touch you. I promise that nothing will ever separate you from my care. There is a difference. One is fragile, the other is eternal. As the night deepens, let this nighttime refuge prayer unfold quietly within you. It does not require words from you. It does not require perfect belief. It requires only that you remain where you are, under cover, under care. You are deeply loved, not for your alertness, not for your strength, not for how well you manage your fear. You are loved because you are mine, loved when you are calm, loved when you are anxious, loved when you finally let go. There is nothing you need to prove tonight, no danger you need to predict, no future you need to solve. This moment is enough. This shelter is enough. You may feel your body grow heavier, your limbs sinking into rest. That heaviness is not collapse. It is release. It is your body trusting that it will be caught. As sacred serenity sleep carries you forward, let the words become softer, less defined. Let them blend with the rhythm of your breathing. You do not need to follow every sentence. You do not need to stay awake to be protected. I know the nights when silence felt threatening, when the quiet gave space for worry to grow louder. Tonight, silence is not empty. It is filled with presence, with watchfulness, with care that does not waver. There are forces in the world you cannot control, outcomes you cannot predict, risks you cannot eliminate. You were never meant to manage them alone. Rest is not negligence. Rest is trust. I stand watch so you do not have to. I cover you so you do not need to armor yourself. I remain alert so you can finally sleep. Psalm 91 is not a charm. It is a dwelling place, a reminder that refuge is not something you build, it is something you enter. And you have entered it now. If fear tries to return, do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. Simply remain here, under my wings, in my shadow. Fear cannot stay where love stands watch. Your breathing may deepen now. Your thoughts may blur at the edges. That is good. That is rest arriving. Sleep without guarding yourself. Sleep without scanning the night. Sleep without rehearsing tomorrow's worries. You are protected, watched, deeply loved. I will not leave while you sleep. I will not look away. I will not grow tired of watching over you. The night will pass, and you will wake covered in the same care that surrounded you when you closed your eyes. Stay under my wings tonight. Let Psalm 91 carry you into rest. Let this sacred serenity sleep hold you gently until morning comes. Psalm 32. You are not your past. You are not the worst thing you remember. You are not the words you regret, the choices you replay, or the moments you wish you could erase. I speak to you gently tonight, because your soul has carried guilt longer than it was meant to. I have lifted that weight already. You do not need to keep holding it to prove you are sorry. Let your breathing slow. Let your body soften. Peace comes when you stop punishing yourself. There are memories that surface most clearly at night. When the world grows quiet, the mind grows loud. You may lie awake revisiting conversations, decisions, failures, wondering how things might have turned out differently. You may feel a familiar tightening in your chest, as though your past is still demanding payment. But hear me now. What has been forgiven does not need to be relived. What has been released does not need to be carried again. Psalm 32 was written for moments like this, not for public confession or outward display, but for the quiet inner struggle that happens when guilt lingers after forgiveness has already been given. This is why these forgiveness psalms for sleep matter. They are not here to reopen wounds. They are here to close them gently. You may have learned to live with self-accusation as a form of control. You may believe that if you keep reminding yourself of your mistakes, you will not repeat them. But guilt is a poor teacher when it overstays. It does not protect you, it exhausts you. Tonight, you are allowed to rest without rehearsing your failures. I have lifted guilt from your soul. That lifting did not depend on your ability to forgive yourself perfectly. It depended on my mercy. Mercy does not require repayment. Mercy does not wait for you to feel worthy. Mercy arrives because love chooses to. As this Psalm 32 reflection unfolds slowly, notice how your body responds when you stop bracing. Notice how your breath deepens when you no longer argue with the past. This is Christian meditation not as effort, but as release. You are not striving to be better. You are allowing yourself to be free. There may be things you wish you had done differently, words you wish you had not spoken, paths you wish you had not taken. Regret often convinces you that your story is permanently marked by these moments. But forgiveness does not erase your story. It redeems it. It weaves even the painful chapters into something that no longer condemns you. I know how heavy self-blame can become. I know how it follows you into rest, whispering that you do not deserve peace yet. But peace is not a reward for perfection. Peace is a gift for the weary. And you are weary. Psalm 32 speaks of relief that comes when guilt is no longer hidden, when it is no longer carried alone. You do not need to explain yourself to me. I already know. I already understand. I already forgive. There is nothing left to confess that I have not already covered with grace. As you listen to this calm Bible reading, let go of the inner voice that keeps score. Let go of the habit of replaying what you cannot change. The past no longer has authority over this night. It does not get to decide whether you rest. Forgiveness does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means refusing to let what happened define you forever. It means trusting that grace is stronger than memory. It means believing that you are allowed to move forward without dragging yesterday behind you. You may notice resistance arise. A part of you may say, "Not yet, not fully. I still need to pay." That voice learned survival in a world where mistakes were punished harshly. But you are not living under that rule tonight. You are living under mercy. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your breath slow without forcing it. You are safe to relax. You are safe to rest. You are safe to stop punishing yourself. This is Jesus releasing guilt, not by denying your humanity, but by honoring it. You were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be loved. Loved through mistakes. Loved through learning. loved through growth that takes time. There is a difference between responsibility and self-condemnation. Responsibility helps you grow. Condemnation keeps you stuck. Psalm 32 does not trap you in shame. It opens a door to freedom. As the night deepens, allow the words to become softer. You do not need to hold on to every sentence. You do not need to stay awake to understand everything. Your soul receives what your mind may miss. You may feel emotion rise unexpectedly. Relief, sadness, a quiet grief for the years you spent being hard on yourself. Let that feeling pass through without resistance. Nothing is wrong. This is what release feels like. Forgiveness often feels unfamiliar when you have lived long with guilt. It may feel empty at first, like a space you do not know how to fill. Let peace fill it. Let rest fill it. Let kindness toward yourself fill it slowly. I do not define you by your worst moment. I define you by my love. That love has not changed. It does not fluctuate based on your performance. It does not withdraw when you struggle. It remains. As you continue listening, notice how your thoughts begin to lose their sharp edges. Notice how the urgency fades. This is not avoidance. This is healing. This is your nervous system learning that it no longer needs to stay alert for judgment. The night is not here to accuse you. It is here to cradle you. This calm Bible reading is not meant to awaken guilt. It is meant to lull it to rest. You may have carried shame quietly, believing no one would understand. But I understand completely. I know the intentions behind your actions. I know the circumstances you were navigating. I know the parts of you that were hurting when you made those choices. And I do not turn away. There is no need to relive every detail. There is no need to explain yourself again. You are forgiven. You are free. As Psalm 32 continues, it speaks of guidance, of a path forward that is not ruled by fear of repeating mistakes. You do not need to be afraid of yourself. You are learning. You are growing. You are becoming more gentle, not only with others, but with yourself. Sleep does not mean forgetting responsibility. It means trusting that growth continues even when you rest. It means allowing tomorrow to arrive without carrying yesterday's chains. Let the words fade into the background like a soft light in the room. Let your body sink deeper into rest. Let your breathing find its own rhythm. You are not being watched for failure. You are being watched with care. If thoughts return, do not wrestle them. Let them pass like clouds. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to answer them. Stay here. Forgiveness psalms for sleep are not about achieving moral clarity. They are about restoring peace. Peace that allows you to sleep without self-judgment. Peace that allows your heart to soften. I remain with you as the night carries on. I do not grow impatient with your process. I do not revoke grace when doubt returns. I stay. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the guilt you have carried. You are forgiven. You are free. Sleep now in that freedom. Let peace settle where punishment once lived. Let rest replace rehearsal. Let mercy have the final word tonight. I am here, and you may rest. Psalm 4. Lie down now. You have reached the end of this day, and there is nothing more required of you. The noise of the world does not get to follow you here. The questions can wait. The unfinished thoughts can loosen their grip. I give you rest the world cannot take. Rest that does not depend on circumstances. Rest that remains even when life feels uncertain. Your night is safe. Your sleep is guarded. You have spent many nights trying to rest while your mind refused to slow. Nights when your body lay still, but your thoughts kept moving, searching for answers, replaying moments, preparing for things that never came. I know those nights well. I know how exhausting it is to crave sleep and yet feel unable to enter it. That is why Psalm 4 speaks so gently. It does not command sleep. It invites peace. As these psalms for peaceful sleep begin to settle around you, allow yourself to stop striving for rest. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to force your thoughts to be quiet. Peace arrives when you stop wrestling and begin to trust that you are being held. Your night is safe, even if the day was difficult, even if your heart feels unsettled, even if tomorrow feels uncertain. Safety is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of care. And I am present with you now. There were moments today when you felt stretched thin, moments when your patience ran low, moments when worry crept in quietly. You carried more than you realized. Tonight, you do not need to carry any of it. Set it down. Place it here. Let me hold what you no longer need to manage. Psalm 4 speaks of lying down and sleeping in peace, because I alone make you dwell in safety. That safety is not fragile. It does not disappear when the lights go out. It does not depend on your ability to stay alert. It surrounds you completely. As you listen to this Psalm 4 sleep meditation, let your body respond naturally. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your weight. Feel your muscles releasing the effort they have been holding. Let your breathing slow without instruction. Your body knows how to rest when it feels safe. I know the habit of vigilance. I know how easily your mind returns to scanning for problems, even when nothing is wrong. That habit may have protected you once, but tonight, you are allowed to release it. You are allowed to sleep without guarding yourself. This Bible bedtime reading is not here to stimulate your thoughts. It is here to calm them. Let the words flow past you like a gentle stream. You do not need to catch every phrase. You do not need to remember every verse. Simply remain. There are worries that feel louder at night. Worries about health, about relationships, about the future, about whether you are doing enough or being enough. These worries feed on silence when silence feels empty. But tonight, silence is filled with presence, with watchfulness, with care that does not waver. I stand watch while you rest. I remain awake so you do not have to. Nothing will be overlooked. Nothing will be neglected. You can finally allow yourself to sleep deeply, knowing you are not alone. As you fall asleep with scripture surrounding you, let it replace the inner dialogue that keeps you awake. Let it soften the sharp edges of thought. Let it quiet the urgency you have been carrying. You may notice moments when your thoughts drift and then return. That is normal. Do not correct yourself. Do not judge it. Each time your awareness returns, simply rest again. There is no right way to fall asleep. There is only permission. Psalm 4 was written in the midst of trouble, not in the absence of it. That matters. It means peace is possible, even when circumstances are not ideal. Peace is not denial. Peace is trust. Trust that you are seen. Trust that you are cared for. Trust that the night will not harm you. I know the nights when fear tried to settle in. Fear of the unknown. Fear of loss. Fear that something might go wrong while you sleep. Those fears are understandable, but they do not get to rule this night. You are protected. Your sleep is guarded. Guarded not by walls or alarms, but by love that does not sleep. Guarded by attention that does not fade. Guarded by care that remains steady through every hour of the night. As sacred serenity continues, let the rhythm of this Jesus night prayer guide you gently toward rest. Let the words become softer. Let them blend with the sound of your breathing. You do not need to stay awake to receive their comfort. There is a difference between rest and escape. Escape avoids reality. Rest restores strength to face it. Tonight, you are not running away. You are being restored. You may feel heaviness in your limbs now. That heaviness is not weakness. It is your body releasing tension. It is your nervous system recognizing safety. It is a sign that rest is arriving. If thoughts return, do not push them away. Let them pass through like distant sounds. You do not need to follow them. Stay here. Stay under this covering of peace. Psalm 4 reminds you that joy and peace do not come from circumstances alone. They come from trust. Trust that you are not alone in the dark. Trust that tomorrow does not need to be solved tonight. Trust that rest is allowed. I give you rest the world cannot take. The world may demand productivity. It may demand answers. It may demand strength. But it cannot take what I give freely. This rest is yours. Your night is safe. Safe even if the day was messy. Safe even if your heart feels tender. Safe even if you are unsure of what comes next. Safety does not require certainty. As you drift deeper into sleep, let go of the need to be prepared. Let go of the need to be alert. Let go of the need to protect yourself from tomorrow. Tomorrow will come with its own grace. This fall asleep with scripture moment is not about discipline or devotion. It is about trust. Trust that you can close your eyes and still be cared for. Trust that you can sleep deeply without something slipping through the cracks. I know how hard it can be to let go. I know how unfamiliar peace may feel when you are used to tension. But peace does not demand familiarity. It simply invites you to stay. You are not wasting time by resting. You are not being irresponsible. You are honoring the limits of your body and the needs of your soul. That honoring is holy. As Psalm 4 continues to echo softly, allow your awareness to fade at the edges. Let sleep come naturally, without effort. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to notice it. I remain near as you sleep. I do not step away. I do not grow distracted. I remain watchful, attentive, gentle. Your night is safe. Your sleep is guarded. Your rest is allowed. Lie down now. Let the day end. Let peace begin. And sleep, knowing you are held through every moment of the night. Psalm 23. I lead you beside still waters. You do not need to know the path tonight. You do not need to see what lies ahead or understand where the road turns next. All you need is my voice, steady and near, guiding you into rest. The night is not asking you to decide anything. It is inviting you to follow, gently, without effort. There are days when you feel responsible for finding the way, for staying alert, for making the right choices at every turn. Those days can leave you weary in places deeper than your body. Even when you lie down, your mind keeps walking, searching for certainty, replaying decisions, worrying about outcomes. Tonight, that burden is not yours to carry. The shepherd walks ahead. You may rest. Psalm 23 is not a psalm of urgency. It is a psalm of assurance. It speaks to the tired heart that needs to be reminded it is not alone, not abandoned, not expected to figure everything out. This Psalm 23 sleep meditation is not about effort or understanding. It is about trust. Trust that you are being led, even when you cannot see the path clearly. I know how unfamiliar stillness can feel when you are used to movement. Still waters may seem too quiet at first, too open, too vulnerable. But stillness is not danger. Stillness is safety when you are with me. Here, Your thoughts do not need to race. Your breathing does not need to stay shallow. Your body does not need to remain ready for what might happen next. As you listen to this shepherd's psalm, sleep. Allow yourself to stop scanning the horizon. Stop measuring distance. Stop calculating risks. The shepherd knows where to lead you, and the place he leads you tonight is rest. There have been seasons when life felt like a narrow path with steep edges, when one wrong step seemed like it could undo everything. Those seasons taught you to stay tense, to remain alert, to keep control. But control is heavy, and you have carried it long enough. Tonight, you are allowed to follow instead of lead. Still waters do not rush. They do not demand speed. They invite slowing. Let your breathing match their rhythm, slow and steady, in and out. You do not need to match anyone else's pace. You do not need to be anywhere else. You are exactly where you need to be. As this Christian sleep audio continues, notice how your body begins to soften. The muscles you did not realize were tight begin to loosen. The jaw relaxes, the shoulders lower. This is not something you are forcing. This is what happens when safety is felt, not just understood. The shepherd's voice does not shout. It does not pressure. It does not hurry you. It guides with patience, with consistency, with care that does not waver when you hesitate. Even if you feel lost, even if you feel unsure, the shepherd remains close. You may worry about tomorrow, about decisions that need to be made, about conversations that await you, about outcomes you cannot control. But tonight is not the time for answers. Tonight is the time for rest. The shepherd will walk with you tomorrow as well. You do not need to solve tomorrow before you sleep. Psalm 23 speaks of restoration. Restoration does not mean becoming someone else. It means returning to yourself, to the part of you that knows how to rest, how to trust, how to breathe without fear. Restoration begins when you stop resisting stillness. As you listen to this peaceful Bible for anxiety, allow the words to settle like a gentle presence beside you. You do not need to listen closely. You do not need to remember each phrase. Simply remain. Your soul recognizes the shepherd's voice even when your mind drifts. There are valleys you have walked through, valleys of uncertainty, of loss, of fear. Those valleys taught you to be vigilant, to be cautious, to expect danger. But the shepherd does not abandon you in the valley. He walks with you through it. And tonight, you are not in a valley of danger. You are beside still waters. You do not need to know how you arrived here. You do not need to explain your weariness. The shepherd sees it. He understands it. And he leads you gently, not demanding more than you can give. As the night deepens, you may feel your thoughts begin to blur, losing their sharp edges. That is good. That is rest arriving. Let it come. Let it stay. You are not losing control. You are being guided. The shepherd provides what you need before you ask. Rest is not something you must earn. It is something you are given because you are cared for. Tonight, that care is close, steady, unchanging. You may have spent much of your life feeling responsible for others, responsible for outcomes, responsible for keeping things together. But sheep do not lead themselves to still waters. They follow, and following is not weakness, it is trust. As this Psalm 23 sleep meditation continues, allow yourself to be led without resistance. You do not need to understand where you are going. You only need to listen and rest. There is a table prepared for you, even in the presence of worry, even in the presence of unfinished business, even in the presence of uncertainty. That table is peace, and you are invited to sit without hurry. The shepherd's rod and staff are not threats. They are comfort. They guide, protect, and reassure. They remind you that you are not navigating this life alone. Even when you feel unsure, even when you feel tired, the shepherd remains attentive. As your breathing slows, as your body grows heavier, notice how the need to stay alert fades. You do not need to guard yourself tonight. You are not alone in the dark. The shepherd watches while you rest. Still waters reflect the sky. They invite you to look up without fear of falling. Tonight, you are safe to look away from the ground, away from the worries that keep you tense. You are safe to rest your eyes. This Christian sleep audio is not meant to stimulate your thoughts. It is meant to quiet them. Let the words become background, like a gentle stream flowing nearby. You do not need to follow every sound. You do not need to stay awake to receive their comfort. You may notice moments when you drift and then return. That is natural. Each time you return, simply rest again. There is no failure here. There is no wrong way to fall asleep. Psalm 23 reminds you that goodness and mercy follow you. You do not need to chase them. They follow because they belong to you. Even now, even in rest, goodness and mercy remain close. The shepherd does not leave when you sleep. He does not look away. He does not grow tired. While you rest, he remains attentive, guiding, guarding, caring. You may feel a sense of relief wash over you, or you may feel nothing at all. Both are fine. Healing and rest do not always announce themselves. Often, they arrive quietly. As you continue to listen, let the idea of direction soften. You do not need to know where you are going. You are being led. That is enough for tonight. The night does not need answers. It needs rest. And rest is what you are being given. Stay beside these still waters. Let the shepherd's voice guide you into sleep. Let the tension leave your body. Let the worries lose their grip. You are safe to rest here. You do not need to know the path tonight. You do not need to plan the next step. You do not need to carry tomorrow into this moment. Follow my voice into rest. Sleep now, knowing you are led. Sleep knowing you are cared for. Sleep knowing you are not alone. The shepherd remains with you through this night and beyond. Psalm 34. I hear every cry. Not only the prayers you spoke clearly, but the ones that stayed trapped in your chest. The ones that came out as sighs, as exhaustion, as tears you wiped away before anyone noticed. I hear the cries you learned to silence because you did not want to seem weak, demanding, or ungrateful. None of them were lost. None of them were ignored. Every one reached me. There are troubles you can name and troubles you cannot. Some have clear causes, clear timelines, clear fears attached to them. Others linger without explanation, pressing against your spirit in ways you struggle to describe. Anxiety that appears without warning, a heaviness that settles at night, a sense that something is wrong, even when everything looks fine. Psalm 34 speaks to all of this. It does not minimize trouble. It promises deliverance from it. Deliverance does not always mean the instant disappearance of difficulty. Sometimes it means being rescued from drowning in it. Sometimes it means the grip loosening enough for you to breathe again. Sometimes it means rest returning before circumstances change. These deliverance psalms for sleep are not here to deny reality. They are here to remind you that trouble does not have the final word. I know how trouble follows you into the night. During the day, you may keep moving, distracting yourself, managing what you can. But when darkness falls and everything slows, the worries grow louder, questions resurface, fears replay themselves. Your body remembers stress even when your mind tries to let go. Tonight, you do not need to fight that process. Let trouble loosen its grip. as you rest in my care. I hear the cries you never spoke aloud, the ones you swallowed because you thought no one would understand, the ones you buried because you believed it was too late to say them, the ones you did not have words for. Psalm 34 reminds you that I listen beyond language. I respond beyond what you can articulate. As this Psalm 34 comfort settles around you, allow your breathing to slow. Let your chest rise and fall without effort. There is nothing you need to prove right now, nothing you need to resolve, nothing you need to protect yourself from. You are not alone with your trouble anymore. Trouble has a way of shrinking your world. It pulls your focus inward, tightening your thoughts, narrowing your sense of possibility. Anxiety convinces you that what you feel now is permanent, that relief is unlikely, that rest is risky. But anxiety is not truth, and this Bible for anxiety is not here to stimulate it. It is here to calm it. I rescue at night, because night is when fear feels strongest, when imagination fills the quiet with worst-case scenarios, when the mind replays pain without interruption. That is why my presence is especially near in the dark. You are not forgotten when the lights go out. You are not overlooked when the world sleeps. There are times when trouble made you feel exposed, vulnerable, unsure of where to turn. Times when you felt surrounded by problems with no clear way through. Psalm 34 does not tell you to escape on your own. It tells you to cry out and trust that deliverance comes from beyond your strength. You may have tried to carry trouble quietly, believing it was your responsibility to handle it alone. You may have learned to downplay your stress, telling yourself others have it worse. But comparison does not heal anxiety. Compassion does. And compassion is what surrounds you now. As you listen to this calming scripture, let the sharp edges of worry soften. Let the urgency fade. You do not need to stay alert. You do not need to remain prepared for disaster. Tonight, vigilance can rest. Deliverance often begins with safety. Safety enough for your body to relax. Safety enough for your thoughts to slow. Safety enough for your heart to stop bracing itself. That safety is present now. I know the moments when trouble made you feel powerless, when solutions felt out of reach, when hope felt fragile. Those moments did not define you. They did not disqualify you from peace. They revealed how deeply you needed care. Psalm 34 speaks of being delivered from all troubles, not because trouble never returns, but because it never has ultimate authority. Trouble may visit, but it does not rule. Fear may speak, but it does not command. Anxiety may rise, but it does not stay forever. As the words continue, you may feel your thoughts drifting. You may lose track of sentences. You may slip in and out of awareness. That is not failure. That is rest arriving. Your soul listens even when your mind rests. I remain attentive while you sleep. I do not miss what concerns you. I do not overlook what troubles you. I do not dismiss what feels overwhelming. I stay. There are worries about tomorrow that feel unresolved. Conversations that need to happen. Decisions that feel heavy, outcomes you cannot control. None of those need to be solved tonight. Rest does not make them worse. Rest strengthens you to face them when the time comes. This Bible for anxiety is not asking you to suppress your fears. It is inviting you to place them somewhere safer than your own chest. Place them here. Let me hold them. You may notice tension releasing from your shoulders, or a subtle easing in your stomach, or a sense of heaviness settling into your limbs. These are signs that your body is letting go. Allow it. You do not need to stay ready. Jesus rescues at night not with noise or force, but with presence, with steadiness, with reassurance that does not demand belief, only rest. Trouble often convinces you that you are alone in it, that no one sees the full weight of what you carry, that you must manage it by yourself. Psalm 34 counters that lie. It reminds you that you are heard, seen, and responded to. If anxiety returns, do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. Simply remain here. Let the words continue. Let the rhythm of calm scripture anchor you. There is a difference between vigilance and wisdom. Vigilance exhausts you. Wisdom allows you to rest when rest is needed. Tonight, wisdom looks like sleep. You may feel a sense of relief begin to emerge, or you may feel nothing at all. Both are acceptable. Healing does not announce itself. Deliverance often works quietly, beneath awareness. As sacred serenity continues, let the night hold you gently. Let the words fade into the background like a steady flame. You are safe to drift. You are safe to rest. I hear every cry. I respond to the ones you spoke and the ones you could not. And even now, as you rest, trouble is losing its grip. Sleep knowing that deliverance does not depend on your strength. Sleep knowing that rescue does not require your effort. Sleep knowing that you are cared for beyond what you can see. Let this be a night when anxiety loosens, when fear quiets, when rest returns. Let this be a night when you stop fighting and allow care to surround you. These deliverance psalms for sleep are not here to rush you into peace. They are here to carry you gently toward it. Rest now. Let trouble loosen its grip. I remain with you through this night and into the calm that follows. Psalm 121. You are never unattended. Even now, in this quiet hour when the world seems to slow and the noise fades, my attention does not drift. My eyes do not close. My care does not waver. I guard your coming and going, not only in the busy daylight hours, but also in this stillness, as you sleep. There are nights when being alone feels heavier than it should, when the silence feels wide and your thoughts begin to wander into places you did not invite them. You may wonder who is watching, who is listening, who would notice if you struggled in the dark. Hear this clearly. You are not unseen. You are not unprotected. You are not forgotten for even a moment. Psalm 121 was written for travelers, for those who felt exposed on long roads, uncertain of what lay ahead or behind. Tonight, it is for you, not because you are moving anywhere, but because your soul has traveled through worry, fatigue, and quiet fear. This psalm is a reminder that you are watched over in every direction, in every hour. As these words settle gently into the night, let your body relax into the truth that you do not need to stay alert. You do not need to listen for danger. You do not need to keep part of yourself awake, just in case. God watches over you as you sleep, fully, attentively, lovingly. There may have been seasons in your life when you learned to rely only on yourself, when circumstances taught you that you had to stay aware, stay prepared, stay strong. Those habits kept you going when support felt absent. But tonight, you are not required to maintain them. Tonight, you are allowed to rest under watchful care. I guard your coming and your going. That includes the thoughts that enter your mind and the ones that leave. It includes the worries that try to follow you into sleep and the fears that linger from the day. They do not get to stay unchallenged. They do not get to rule the night. As you listen to this Psalm 121, rest. Allow the tension in your body to ease. feel the weight of yourself being supported. Let your breathing slow naturally. There is nothing you need to do to be protected. Protection is already present. The one who watches over you does not become distracted, does not lose focus, does not grow tired. This is not the kind of watchfulness that strains or exhausts. It is steady, calm, unwavering. Even now, as your thoughts soften and your awareness begins to drift, you are being kept. There are worries that feel stronger at night. Worries about safety, about health, about loved ones, about things you cannot control. Psalm 121 does not tell you those worries are foolish. It tells you they are not yours to manage alone. It invites you to place them into care far stronger than your own. This Christian nighttime prayer is not asking you to recite words or hold on to thoughts. It is inviting you to trust presence. Presence that surrounds you. Presence that remains alert while you rest. Presence that does not fade when sleep comes. You may notice a habit of listening for sounds, of being aware of every small noise. That habit was formed when you needed it. But tonight, you are safe enough to release it. Let the sounds fade into the background. Let the quiet become gentle instead of threatening. I neither slumber nor sleep. That means you can. It means you are free to let go completely, free to drift, free to rest deeply, without fear of something slipping through the cracks. Nothing is missed. Nothing is overlooked. As sacred Serenity night continues, let the words become softer. Let them blend with the rhythm of your breath. You do not need to stay awake to receive comfort. Your soul hears what your mind may not. There is a difference between being alone and being unattended. You may be alone in the room, but you are not unattended. You are not unguarded. You are not exposed. Care stands watch where you cannot. Psalm 121 speaks of help that comes from beyond what you can see. Help that does not depend on your awareness. Help that does not require your effort. That help is with you now. If fear tries to return, do not fight it. Do not analyze it. Simply remain. Let it pass like a cloud moving across the sky. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to answer it. Stay here, in this place of being watched over. There may be memories of nights when you felt unsafe. Nights when rest did not come easily. Nights when you learned to stay half awake. Those memories may still echo in your body, but this night is not the same. This night is covered. Jesus' protection meditation is not loud. It does not demand attention. It works quietly, like a steady presence at the door, like a light left on through the night. You do not need to see it to benefit from it. You are guarded in your thoughts, in your breathing, in your rest. You are guarded in the moments you drift and the moments you stir. Nothing changes when sleep comes, except your need to remain aware. As your eyelids grow heavy, allow yourself to sink into rest without hesitation. You are not being careless. You are being cared for. The road behind you is watched. The path ahead of you is watched. The space you are in right now is watched. There is no gap in this care. You may feel a sense of relief wash through you, or you may simply feel tired. Both are signs that rest is arriving. Let it come without resistance. This is not a night to solve problems. It is a night to be kept, to be watched over, to be allowed to sleep deeply without fear. I guard your coming and your going, even now, even here, even as your thoughts fade and your breathing deepens. You are never unattended. Let this psalm continue to flow gently. Let it carry you further into rest. Let the world grow quieter around you. Sleep now, knowing you are watched over. Sleep, knowing you are protected. Sleep, knowing you do not need to stay awake to be safe. I remain alert so you can rest. I remain present so you can drift. I remain with you through every hour of this night. Rest now in this sacred serenity night. Let go of vigilance. Let go of worry. Let go of the need to listen for danger. You are watched over, and you may sleep. Psalm 46. When the world feels unstable, when the ground beneath your thoughts seems to shift without warning, I remain unshaken. Nothing moves me, nothing surprises me, nothing overwhelms me. Hide here tonight. You do not need to stand exposed to every tremor. You do not need to brace yourself for every noise. Strength will return quietly, without announcement, while you rest. There are nights when uncertainty presses closer than fear, when it is not one clear worry, but a sense that everything feels fragile at once. Plans feel temporary, security feels thin, the future feels unclear. Even the things that once felt solid seem to sway. I know how unsettling that can be. I know how quickly your body reacts to instability, tightening, preparing, refusing to fully relax. Tonight, you are invited somewhere steadier. Psalm 46 does not deny chaos. It acknowledges it. It speaks of mountains shaking and waters roaring. It names upheaval honestly. But it does not stop there. It reminds you that there is a refuge that does not shake, a presence that remains steady no matter what surrounds it. This is why God, our refuge, sleep is not about escaping reality. It is about resting in what cannot be moved. You may have spent the day absorbing news, responsibilities, conversations, expectations. Each one added a small weight. By nightfall, those weights combine into exhaustion that feels deeper than physical tiredness. You lie down, but your mind keeps standing, scanning for what might collapse next. Hide here tonight. Let your mind sit down too. I remain unshaken. That means you do not need to be. You do not need to hold everything together. You do not need to predict what comes next. You do not need to stay alert to feel safe. Safety is not found in control. It is found in refuge. As this Psalm 46 meditation unfolds, let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders soften. Feel how your body responds when it realizes it does not have to carry the weight of the world. This is Christian peace, not as an idea, but as an experience. Peace that settles into your muscles, peace that quiets your thoughts, peace that does not depend on circumstances improving first. There have been seasons when everything felt unstable at once, when you questioned what could be trusted, when even familiar routines felt unreliable. Those seasons taught you to stay vigilant, to prepare for loss, to expect disruption. That vigilance may have helped you survive, but it does not have to follow you into rest. Psalm 46 speaks of a river whose streams make glad the city of God, a quiet flow that continues even while chaos surrounds it. That river is not loud. It does not force its way through. It simply remains. Let that image settle within you. Quiet strength, steady presence, life flowing without strain. Hide here tonight. Hiding is not weakness. It is wisdom when the storm is strong. Refuge is not denial. It is protection. You are not avoiding the world by resting. You are restoring yourself within it. As Bible sleep ambience fills the space around you, allow the sounds, the words, the rhythm to create distance between you and the noise of instability. You do not need to resolve what feels uncertain. You do not need to answer questions tonight. Tomorrow can wait. Strength will return quietly. That is important to remember. Strength does not always arrive as motivation or clarity. Sometimes it arrives as calm, sometimes as deeper sleep, sometimes as the ability to wake without dread. Quiet restoration is still restoration. You may notice your thoughts slowing, becoming less urgent. The sharp edges soften. The constant checking, the internal forecasting, the what-if scenarios lose their grip. This is not avoidance. This is refuge doing its work. Jesus, calm. Refuge does not shout over the storm. It remains steady until the storm loses its power. That steadiness is with you now. There may be parts of you that resist rest because rest feels risky when things are unstable. If you are not alert, something might go wrong. If you relax, you might be caught off guard. Those fears come from times when you had to stay ready to survive. But this moment is different. You are not alone. You are not exposed. You are not responsible for holding everything together. I remain unshaken, even when the world feels like it is shifting. That means there is a place within reach that does not move. You do not need to search for it. You are already here. As you listen, you may feel heaviness in your limbs. Let it be there. That heaviness is not collapse. It is grounding. It is your body settling into something solid after being on edge. Psalm 46 invites stillness. Be still, it says, not as a command to force quiet, but as an invitation to recognize what is already steady. Stillness is not emptiness. It is awareness of refuge. Christian peace is often misunderstood as the absence of trouble, but true peace exists alongside trouble without being consumed by it. Tonight, peace is not something you must create. It is something you receive. You may have tried to calm yourself by reasoning, by planning, by controlling details. Those strategies can help during the day, but at night, they exhaust you. Refuge offers a different way. It offers rest without analysis. As God our refuge sleep continues, allow yourself to stop watching the world for signs of collapse. Let the news of your thoughts quiet. Let the inner commentary fade. You are not uninformed. You are resting. There is a strength that comes from letting go, a strength that does not look impressive, but sustains you longer than force ever could. That strength is returning now, quietly, while you listen. You may feel a sense of relief, or you may feel nothing at all. Both are acceptable. Healing and restoration do not always announce themselves. Often, they work beneath awareness, repairing what was worn thin. The refuge you are hiding in tonight does not depend on circumstances improving. It does not depend on answers arriving. It does not depend on stability returning to the world. It depends only on presence. And presence is here. As the night deepens, let the words of Psalm 46 become background. Let them blend with the gentle ambience. You do not need to follow every sentence. You do not need to stay awake to understand. Your soul recognizes safety even when your mind drifts. There are questions you cannot answer tonight. There are uncertainties that remain unresolved, but they do not need to be carried into sleep. Place them here. Let them rest outside of you. Jesus' calm refuge means you do not have to harden yourself against instability. You do not have to numb yourself. You do not have to stay tense. You can soften without falling apart. If fear tries to rise again, do not argue with it. Do not analyze it. Simply remain. Refuge does not require effort. It requires staying. Your breathing may deepen now. Your thoughts may blur. Your awareness may come and go. All of this is welcome. Rest is arriving in its own time. Strength will return quietly, not because you forced it, not because you solved everything, but because you rested in what does not move. This Bible sleep ambience is not meant to keep you awake. It is meant to carry you gently toward sleep, toward restoration that happens without strain. The world may feel unstable, tomorrow may feel uncertain, but tonight you are hidden. Tonight you are held. Tonight you are safe to rest. I remain unshaken, and because of that, you do not need to be shaken either. Hide here tonight. Let go of vigilance. Let go of the need to understand. Let go of the urge to prepare. Sleep now in refuge. Sleep knowing that strength is returning quietly, even as you rest. Sleep knowing that you are not exposed to the storm. I remain with you through this night, and when morning comes, you will rise from refuge steadier than you fell asleep. Rest now. Psalm 139. I formed you before you learned how to explain yourself, before you learned how to hide, before you learned which parts of you were welcomed and which were questioned. I knew you. I knew the shape of your thoughts before they had words. I knew the rhythm of your breath before you ever felt tired. There is nowhere you can go where I am not already waiting. There are nights when you feel unseen even among people. Nights when you replay conversations and wonder if anyone truly understood what you meant, what you felt, what you carried silently. You may lie awake sensing a distance between who you are and who the world thinks you are. Psalm 139 speaks directly into that quiet ache. It reminds you that you have never been misunderstood by me. This Psalm 139 sleep meditation is not about discovering new truths. It is about remembering what has always been true. You are known fully, not partially. Known gently, not critically. Known without needing to explain or perform. As you rest, allow that knowing to settle deeper than thought. I know when you sit down and when you rise up. I know when your thoughts wander into places you do not invite them. I know the worries that surface at night and the hopes you keep hidden because you are not sure they are safe to share. Nothing about you surprises me. Nothing about you repels me. Nothing about you is too much. As this Bible for rest flows quietly through the night, let go of the habit of editing yourself. Let go of the need to present a version of you that feels acceptable. You do not need to filter your thoughts here. You do not need to manage your emotions. You are already held. There are moments when being known feels frightening. To be fully seen can feel vulnerable when you have learned to protect yourself. You may fear that if everything about you were visible, love would withdraw. But my knowing does not expose you to harm. It shelters you from it. I formed you intentionally. That means the parts of you that feel confusing, the traits you have questioned, the sensitivities you tried to toughen, none of them were accidents. You are not a mistake that needs correction. You are a creation that deserves care. As you listen, notice how your body responds when you stop holding yourself together. Notice how your breathing deepens when you no longer feel the need to monitor yourself. This is peaceful scripture sleep, not because your mind is busy understanding, but because your soul recognizes safety. You may have spent much of your life trying to be understood by others, explaining yourself, adjusting yourself, softening your truth to fit the room. That effort can leave you exhausted in ways that sleep alone does not fix. Tonight, you do not need to be understood by anyone else. You are already known here. There is nowhere you can go where I am not already waiting. Not in your doubts, not in your fears, not in the parts of your past you wish were different. not even in the thoughts you judge yourself for having. I meet you before you arrive. I remain when you want to leave. Psalm 139 speaks of being hemmed in, behind, and before. That is not confinement. That is protection. You are not boxed in by limitation. You are surrounded by care. Care that moves with you. Care that adapts. Care that does not let you fall unnoticed. As the night deepens, let this Jesus intimate prayer become less something you listen to and more something you rest within. You do not need to follow every word. You do not need to stay awake to receive comfort. Your soul understands presence without language. There may be parts of you that feel contradictory. Strength and softness, faith and doubt, courage and fear. You may wonder which part is the real you. I know them all, and I do not ask you to choose one to be accepted. Wholeness includes complexity. You are not required to resolve yourself tonight. You are not required to improve yourself. You are not required to explain your journey. This moment is not for progress. It is for rest. God knows you, not as a concept, not as a list of traits, but as a living, breathing person with a story still unfolding. Knowing does not end where sleep begins. Even as your awareness fades, my care remains attentive. There are nights when loneliness feels sharper because the world has gone quiet. In the quiet, questions grow louder. Am I seen? Am I understood? Am I alone in this? Psalm 139 answers without argument. You are known. You are held. I know the nights when your thoughts circle the same questions. When you wonder if you are enough, if you are too much, if you belong. These questions do not offend me. They do not exhaust me. I stay with you in them. As you rest, allow yourself to stop searching for reassurance. Reassurance does not need to be found tonight. It is already present. The one who formed you is near. The one who knows you completely is not distant. There is a tenderness in being held without being fixed, a peace in being known without being corrected. That tenderness surrounds you now. This Psalm 139 sleep meditation is not meant to keep your mind active. It is meant to quiet the parts of you that feel the need to stay alert, to stay guarded, to stay ready to defend yourself. You do not need to defend yourself here. If thoughts arise, let them come and go. Do not chase them. Do not push them away. Simply remain. You are not doing this wrong. There is no wrong way to rest when you are safe. I know the version of you that others see, and I know the version you hide. I know the strength you show and the fatigue you conceal, and I love you without dividing you into parts. As your body grows heavier and your breathing slows, allow yourself to sink into this truth. You do not need to go anywhere else to be found. You are already known. Peaceful scripture sleep is not about silence alone. It is about being accompanied in the silence. That accompaniment is here. It does not fade when you close your eyes. There are places inside you that have not been visited with kindness in a long time. Places you avoid because they feel tender or confusing. Psalm 139 reaches even there. There is no inner space that remains untouched by care. You are held in your questions, held in your uncertainties, held in your becoming. Nothing about you is outside of attention. As sacred serenity continues, let the words become softer. Let them blend into the night. You do not need to track time. You do not need to stay aware. You are not being tested. There is nowhere you can go where I am not already waiting. Not in sleep, not in dreams, not in the spaces between waking and resting. I remain present through every transition. You may feel a sense of relief, or you may feel simply tired. Both are welcome. Rest does not need to feel dramatic to be real. As you drift, remember this: being known does not mean being exposed. Being held does not mean being restrained. You are free to rest because you are safe. Let the day end without review. Let tomorrow wait without preparation. Let this night be what it is, a place to be held without effort. Sleep now, knowing you are known completely. Sleep knowing you are held securely. Sleep knowing there is no part of you wandering alone. I remain with you as you rest, and you may let go. Psalm 42. Trust grows quietly. It does not announce itself with certainty or demand that you understand where the road leads. It begins softly, almost unnoticed, in moments like this, when you choose to rest without answers, when you allow the night to be what it is, without forcing tomorrow to reveal itself. You do not need certainty tonight. You only need rest. There are nights when uncertainty feels heavier than fear. Fear at least has a shape, a reason, a name. Uncertainty is quieter and wider. It asks questions without offering conclusions. It makes you feel suspended between what was and what will be. Psalm 25 speaks to this space. It is a prayer not of clarity, but of trust forming in the dark. As these hope psalms for sleep begin to flow gently around you, let go of the pressure to know what comes next. You do not need to trace every outcome before you are allowed to sleep. You do not need to resolve every doubt before you are allowed peace. Hope does not depend on certainty. Hope learns to breathe in the absence of it. You may have spent much of your life trying to be prepared, planning ahead, anticipating risks, thinking through every possible scenario so you would not be caught off guard. That vigilance may have helped you survive difficult seasons, but it also trained your mind to stay awake when rest was needed most. Tonight, you are not required to stay prepared. You are invited to be held. Psalm 25 is a prayer whispered by someone who does not see the full path. It asks for guidance, not explanations. It asks for mercy, not proof. It asks for remembrance, not perfection. This Psalm 25 prayer is not rushed. It unfolds slowly, like trust itself. Trust grows quietly when you stop demanding immediate clarity, when you stop measuring progress by visible results, when you stop interpreting unanswered questions as failure. Tonight, trust is not something you must produce. It is something that is already forming beneath your awareness. As this Bible meditation continues, notice how your body responds when you stop reaching for certainty. Notice how your shoulders ease when you release the need to know. Notice how your breathing deepens when you allow yourself to be where you are. This is not resignation. This is rest. There are questions you have carried for a long time. Questions about direction, about timing, about relationships, about whether you are on the right path. Those questions may feel louder at night when distractions fade, but you do not need to answer them now. Night is not for solving. Night is for restoring. Jesus teaches trust not by removing uncertainty, but by remaining present within it. I do not ask you to ignore your questions. I ask you to stop letting them steal your rest. They will still be there tomorrow. Tonight, they do not need your attention. Hope psalms for sleep are not promises of instant clarity. They are invitations to rest while clarity takes its time. They remind you that waiting is not wasted when it is held in care. You may worry that if you stop thinking about the future, something will go wrong. that rest equals neglect, that letting go equals losing control. But control is not what keeps you safe. Presence does, and presence is here. Psalm 25 speaks of paths and ways, of learning to walk without seeing the whole map. You do not need the map tonight. You need rest for the journey. Rest is not the opposite of trust. It is an expression of it. As you listen to this sleep scripture audio, allow the words to become gentle background rather than focus. You do not need to track each line. You do not need to remember every phrase. Let them surround you like quiet reassurance. There may be parts of you that resist rest, because rest feels unproductive when life feels unresolved. But rest does not delay growth. It supports it. Trust grows quietly in rested soil. You may notice thoughts drifting toward past mistakes, wondering if different choices would have led to clearer outcomes. Regret often disguises itself as problem solving. But tonight, you do not need to revisit old decisions. They cannot be changed in the dark. They can only be softened by rest. Jesus teaches trust by reminding you that guidance does not require anxiety. You do not need to be afraid of missing your way. You are not navigating alone. Even when you cannot see the path, guidance remains active. As the night deepens, you may feel moments of restlessness return. That is okay. Trust does not grow in a straight line. When restlessness appears, do not judge it. Simply return to rest again. Each return strengthens trust without effort. Psalm 25 prayer includes a request to be taught, to be led. Teaching and leading do not happen all at once. They happen over time, often quietly, often beneath awareness. Tonight is part of that process. There is a kind of hope that demands evidence, and there is a kind of hope that rests before evidence arrives. The second kind is quieter, deeper, more resilient. That is the hope forming now. As this Bible meditation continues, let go of the urge to rehearse conversations or plan responses. Let go of the need to anticipate outcomes. You are allowed to pause the future for the night. You may feel a subtle sense of relief as the pressure to know loosens, or you may feel simply tired. Both are signs that effort is ending. Effort is not required for trust. Trust begins when effort stops. Hope does not disappear when answers are delayed. It rests, it waits, it breathes. Like a seed beneath the soil, unseen but alive. Growth happens even when nothing seems to be happening. Jesus teaches trust by staying present, even when you feel unsure. I do not withdraw when you question. I do not step away when you hesitate. I remain close while trust forms slowly. Sleep scripture audio is not meant to stimulate your thinking. It is meant to quiet it. Let the rhythm of words and pauses guide you toward rest. You do not need to participate actively. Simply remain. You may worry that resting means giving up on what matters, but rest does not erase desire. It restores strength so desire can be carried without desperation. Psalm 25 speaks of humility, of acknowledging limits without shame. You do not need to be certain to be guided. You do not need to be confident to be cared for. You only need to rest. As sacred serenity continues, allow your awareness to soften. Let the edges of thought blur. Let your body sink deeper into the surface beneath you. This is not losing focus. This is finding rest. Trust grows quietly when you allow yourself to be uncertain without panic. When you allow questions to exist without demanding immediate resolution. When you allow rest to come before clarity. There are parts of you that fear waiting, because waiting once felt like abandonment. But waiting here is not being left alone. It is being accompanied. You are not waiting by yourself. Jesus teaches trust by reminding you that guidance does not sleep. Even when you rest, direction continues. Even when you let go, care remains active. As you drift closer to sleep, let hope rest beside you. You do not need to hold it tightly. You do not need to protect it. Let it breathe on its own. The night does not require answers. It requires rest. Tomorrow will bring what it brings. Tonight is not for deciding, it is for restoring. Hope psalms for sleep are not here to energize you. They are here to carry you gently into rest, where hope can renew quietly. If your mind wanders, gently return. Each return is not failure. It is trust practicing rest. You may feel a sense of safety replacing urgency, or you may feel nothing at all. Both are enough. Healing and trust do not always feel dramatic. As the words fade into the background, allow yourself to stop listening closely. You do not need to stay awake. You are safe to drift. Trust grows quietly. You do not need certainty tonight. You do not need proof. You do not need answers. You are held even in uncertainty. You are guided even without clarity. You are cared for even while you rest. Sleep now with this truth resting beside you. Let hope breathe. Let effort end. Let rest come. I remain with you through this night, and trust continues to grow quietly, even as you sleep. Psalm 145. My compassion never runs out. It does not thin when you are tired. It does not withdraw when you are unsure. It does not grow impatient when you need more time than others expect. You are safe to rest without fear of rejection. Nothing about this moment disappoints me. Nothing about your need for rest disqualifies you from care. There are nights when you feel the weight of needing to be acceptable. Acceptable in what you feel. Acceptable in how long you take to heal. Acceptable in how much rest you require. You may carry an unspoken fear that if you stop trying, stop performing, stop holding yourself together, something precious will be taken away. But hear this gently now. Compassion does not work that way. Love does not abandon you when you finally exhale. Psalm 145 speaks of a God who is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love. These are not qualities offered sparingly. They are constant. They are not earned by effort or revoked by weakness. As this God-compassion sleep surrounds you, let go of the habit of bracing yourself for disappointment. You are not about to be pushed away. You may have learned to stay alert to subtle signs of rejection, a tone change, a silence, a delay. Over time, that alertness becomes exhausting. Even at night, your mind may stay partially awake, watching for what might go wrong. Tonight, you do not need to watch. You do not need to be ready. You are already safe. As this Psalm 145 comfort flows quietly through the night, allow your body to soften. Feel how your shoulders release when you realize there is no test to pass, no standard to meet, no explanation required. Compassion meets you where you are, not where you think you should be. Christian bedtime reading like this is not meant to stimulate thought. It is meant to soothe the parts of you that learn to stay guarded. Let the words be like a gentle presence in the room, steady, patient, unhurried. You do not need to follow every sentence. You only need to remain. There may be parts of you that expect love to come with conditions, that expect kindness to be temporary, that fear being too much or not enough. Those fears often come from real experiences where care was inconsistent or approval was fragile. But compassion here does not fluctuate. It does not depend on your mood, your progress, or your clarity. My compassion never runs out. Even when you feel depleted, even when you are unsure how to ask for help, even when you feel undeserving, Compassion is not a resource you consume. It is a presence that surrounds you. As the night deepens, let this Jesus kindness meditation gently undo the belief that you must earn rest. Rest is not a reward, it is a need, and needs are honored here. You may notice your thoughts slowing, becoming less self-critical, or you may simply feel tired enough to stop analyzing yourself. Both are signs that effort is ending. That is where rest begins. Psalm 145 speaks of open hands, of needs being met in due season. You do not need to force the season. You do not need to rush growth. What needs to be met will be met, often quietly, often without announcement. Tonight, what you need is rest. Calm Bible night moments like this are not about fixing what is broken. They are about reminding you that you are not broken for needing gentleness. You are not weak for needing comfort. You are not failing because you are tired. There are nights when exhaustion feels emotional rather than physical. When your heart feels worn from giving, from caring, from trying to be understanding when you yourself needed understanding. That kind of fatigue deserves compassion, not correction. As you listen, you may feel a subtle sense of safety begin to settle, or you may simply feel nothing at all. Both are welcome. Compassion does not require a response. It does not demand gratitude or awareness. It simply remains. You are safe to rest without fear of rejection. That means you do not need to monitor yourself. You do not need to wonder if you are asking for too much. You do not need to apologize for being human. Jesus' kindness meditation works gently. It does not confront or push. It reassures. It stays. It reminds you that love does not disappear when you stop striving. There may be memories of times when rest was not safe, when slowing down led to criticism, when vulnerability led to disappointment. Those memories may still live in your body, making it difficult to fully relax. Tonight, you are not in those moments. Tonight is different. Tonight is covered. As this Christian bedtime reading continues, allow yourself to be held without expectation. Let your breathing find its own pace. Let your body grow heavy. You are not being evaluated. You are being cared for. Psalm 145 reminds you that compassion extends to all without exception. That includes you. Even the parts of you that feel messy, even the parts of you that feel unfinished, even the parts of you that doubt. God compassion sleep is not about convincing yourself of kindness. It is about resting inside it. Let kindness surround you like warmth, steady and quiet. You may have learned to associate love with effort, approval with performance. But compassion here does not measure output. It measures need, and your need for rest is honored. As the words soften into the background, you do not need to stay awake. You do not need to keep listening closely. Your soul receives comfort, even when your mind drifts. There is nothing you need to fix tonight, nothing you need to promise to do better tomorrow, nothing you need to prove. You are already enough to be cared for. Calm Bible night is not about silence alone. It is about safety within the silence. Safety that allows your body to finally let go of tension it has carried unconsciously. You may feel relief begin to replace pressure, or you may simply feel tired enough to stop thinking. Both are signs that rest is arriving. My compassion never runs out. That means there is no rush, no limit, no expiration. You do not need to hurry your healing or shorten your rest to stay worthy of care. As sacred serenity continues, let the night carry you gently. Let the words fade. Let the sense of being accepted remain. You are safe to rest without fear of rejection, safe to sleep without guarding yourself, safe to be exactly as you are. Let the day end without review. Let tomorrow wait without preparation. Let this moment be enough. Sleep now in compassion that does not waver. Sleep knowing you are welcomed, not tolerated. Sleep knowing kindness does not disappear when you rest. I remain with you through this night, and you may sleep, held in compassion that never runs out. Psalm 20. I have heard you. Not only the words you managed to speak, but the ones that stayed caught in your throat. Not only the prayers you formed carefully, but the ones that came out as sighs, as tears, as silence at the end of a long day. I have heard you in distress, and I am not distant from what concerns you. Even now, answers are forming. You do not need to stay awake to make them happen. Sleep without worry. There are nights when unanswered questions feel heavier than pain. When you lie down and your body is tired, but your mind keeps searching for reassurance, for direction, for a sign that something is moving behind the scenes. Psalm 20 speaks to this moment. It does not rush the answer. It reminds you that being heard is not the same as being forgotten. Being heard means something is already underway. As these words settle into the quiet, let go of the urge to replay your prayers to make sure they were said correctly. You do not need perfect language to be understood. You do not need the right tone or timing. God answers prayer. Sleep is not about technique. It is about trust. Trust that what has been entrusted is now held beyond your effort. There may be a particular concern that keeps returning tonight. A situation that feels unresolved. A relationship that feels strained. A decision that feels heavy. You may wonder if your prayers reached far enough, if they mattered, if they arrived too late. Hear this gently. Nothing you brought was wasted. Nothing you asked was ignored. Answers do not always arrive as immediate relief, but they begin as attentive care. Psalm 20 was written in a moment of urgency, before outcomes were known. It speaks of help sent, of strength given, of support rising while the situation remains unresolved. This is why Psalm 20 rest is possible, even when circumstances have not yet changed. Rest does not require resolution. It requires reassurance. I have heard you. That means you do not need to repeat yourself tonight. You do not need to refine your request. You do not need to stay mentally alert to ensure nothing is missed. What needed to be said has been received. As this healing prayer night continues, notice how your body responds when you release the responsibility to solve what troubles you. Feel how your shoulders ease when you stop holding the outcome in place. Let your breath slow without instruction. This is the body recognizing that care is active beyond your control. There is a temptation to stay awake because you believe rest might delay the answer. That if you stop thinking, stop worrying, stop monitoring, something important might slip away. But worry does not speed answers. It only exhausts you. Rest does not delay what is forming. It prepares you to receive it. Jesus' reassurance sleep comes not as explanation, but as presence. Presence that says you are not alone with uncertainty. Presence that says the night does not have to be productive. Presence that says trust can replace vigilance for a while. You may be used to waiting with tension, measuring time by how long something has been unresolved. That kind of waiting drains hope. Psalm 20 offers a different posture, waiting with confidence that help is not hypothetical, but active. As you listen to this Bible night comfort, allow your mind to stop rehearsing conversations that have not happened yet. Stop planning how you will respond if the answer goes one way or another. Those plans can wait. Tonight is not for preparation. Tonight is for rest. Even now, answers are forming. Some answers take shape quietly, without noise. They form in alignment, in timing, in circumstances shifting just enough to open a door. They form in hearts softening, in clarity emerging gradually, in strength returning where it was thin. You do not need to witness the formation for it to be real. I have heard you in distress. Distress does not disqualify prayer. It does not make your request less worthy. In fact, distress often sharpens honesty. It brings you to the place where you stop performing and start trusting. That honesty is welcome here. As Psalm 20 rest unfolds, you may feel moments of relief, or you may simply feel tired enough to stop thinking. Both are signs that effort is ending. Effort does not produce answers. Trust does not either. Answers form because care is present. There are nights when fear tells you that unanswered prayers mean neglect, that silence means refusal, that delay means disappointment. Those interpretations come from exhaustion, not truth. Silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. And being heard is not undone by waiting. Let the words continue softly. Let them become background rather than focus. You do not need to stay awake to follow every sentence. You are safe to drift. Your soul remains attentive even as your mind rests. Healing prayer night is not about achieving calm before you sleep. It is about allowing calm to arrive while you sleep. Healing continues even when you are not watching it. You may notice your thoughts slowing, becoming less urgent. The questions lose some of their sharpness. The pressure eases. This is not avoidance. This is relief. Jesus' reassurance sleep reminds you that reassurance does not always come as answers you can explain. Sometimes it comes as the ability to rest without spiraling. Sometimes it comes as a sense of being accompanied. Sometimes it comes as the quiet confidence that you do not need to manage everything yourself. I have heard you. That includes the prayers you prayed a long time ago and wondered about later. The ones you thought you should stop hoping for. The ones you felt embarrassed to bring. All of them are known. None are dismissed. As Bible Night Comfort continues, let your body sink deeper into the surface beneath you. Let your muscles release the tension of waiting. Let your jaw unclench. You do not need to stay alert. There may be a part of you that fears disappointment, that braces itself by staying awake emotionally. That part learned to protect you when outcomes were uncertain. But tonight, protection looks like rest. Psalm 20 speaks of being answered in the day of trouble. The day does not have to be now. The answer does not have to arrive tonight. Being answered means being supported through the waiting as well. Sleep without worry. Worry does not safeguard the future. It only steals the present. The present is where rest is offered. As you listen, you may drift in and out of awareness. That is natural. Each drift is not loss. It is surrender. You are not missing anything important by resting. You are allowing something important to continue without you holding it. Even now, answers are forming. That sentence does not require you to imagine how. It does not require you to picture outcomes. It invites you to trust process. God answers prayer. Sleep is not about falling asleep faster. It is about falling asleep lighter. Lighter because the burden of outcome has been placed elsewhere. You may wake later tonight or early morning with thoughts returning. If that happens, return gently to rest. Do not judge yourself. Each return is reassurance practicing itself. Jesus, reassurance. Sleep does not depend on how calm you feel. It depends on presence that remains calm for you. You are not responsible for maintaining peace. Peace is maintained for you. As the night deepens, let the words soften further. Let them blur at the edges. Let the sense of being heard remain, even as consciousness fades. There is nothing you need to say again, nothing you need to promise, nothing you need to fix tonight. You have been heard. Sleep now without worry. Let the unanswered questions rest outside your chest. Let the forming answers continue without your supervision. I remain with you through this night. I do not step away while you sleep. I do not pause care because you rest. Answered in distress does not always look like immediate change. Sometimes it looks like the ability to rest in the middle of waiting. That is happening now. Let the day end. Let the night hold you. Let care continue quietly. I have heard you. Even now answers are forming. Sleep without worry. Psalm 27. Do not fear the darkness. Darkness does not mean absence. It does not mean danger. It does not mean you are alone. I remain your light, even here, even now. Sleep without watching the shadows. I will stay. There are nights when darkness feels heavier than it should. When the lights are out and the world quiets, your thoughts grow louder. Shapes in the room seem unfamiliar. Memories surface without invitation. Worries step forward when distractions step away. You may tell yourself that it is only night, only silence, only tiredness, and yet your body remains alert, as if something must be guarded against. I see that vigilance, and I am here to release it. Psalm 27 speaks directly into this moment. It does not pretend darkness does not exist. It names it, and then declares that light remains stronger. This Psalm 27 sleep meditation is not about forcing brightness into the night. It is about trusting the presence of light, even when you cannot see far ahead. The Lord is your light. Light does not argue with darkness. It does not rush it away. It simply exists, steady, constant, reliable. Darkness cannot undo it. Darkness cannot overpower it. Darkness only reveals how much light matters. You may have experienced nights when darkness meant loneliness, when no one noticed your fears, when comfort felt far away. Those experiences can linger in the body long after circumstances change. Even when you are safe, part of you may still brace itself, remembering what it once felt like to be alone in the dark. Tonight is different. Tonight, you are accompanied. As these sacred Serenity sleep psalms continue, allow yourself to stop scanning the room, stop listening for threat, stop holding your breath. The one who remains awake does not need your help. You are safe to rest fully. The light of the Lord is not harsh or blinding. It does not expose you. It does not interrogate you. It illuminates gently, enough to reassure without demanding attention, enough to guide without overwhelming, enough to comfort without noise. You do not need to understand everything tonight. Light does not require full visibility. It requires presence, and presence is here. There are moments when darkness feels internal rather than external, when it is not the room that feels dark, but your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of direction. Psalm 27 speaks to that darkness too. It reminds you that light is not dependent on circumstances. It is not diminished by confusion or fatigue. It remains. You may have asked yourself questions that feel unanswered. Where am I going? Why does this feel so heavy? How long will this season last? Darkness makes those questions feel endless. But questions do not erase light. They simply reveal your need for it. Bible for sleep moments like this are not meant to stimulate your mind. They are meant to quiet the parts of you that feel the need to stay alert. Let the words be like a small lamp in the room, not demanding focus, simply present. Jesus stays with you. That is not a temporary reassurance. It is not a promise that fades when you fall asleep. Staying means remaining through every phase of the night, the drifting, the waking, the dreaming, the moments of stillness in between. You may notice your breathing slowing as you listen. Your body begins to recognize that it is no longer responsible for staying awake. Let that recognition deepen. Let the weight of vigilance lift. Psalm 27 speaks of confidence not because danger disappears, but because fear no longer dictates behavior. Fear tells you to stay awake. Light invites you to rest. The light of the Lord does not flicker. It does not dim when you feel tired. It does not waver when your thoughts wander. It remains steady even when your awareness fades. As the night deepens, you may feel moments of drowsiness mixed with brief awakenings. That is natural. Do not judge it. Each return to rest is gentle. Each breath is enough. There are people who learned early that darkness meant uncertainty, that safety was fragile, that rest was risky. If that is part of your story, your body may take time to trust this moment. That is okay. Trust does not rush. It grows quietly, breath by breath. Jesus stays with you not only when you feel calm, but when you feel restless, not only when you feel peaceful, but when you feel uncertain. Presence does not depend on your emotional state. This Psalm 27 sleep meditation is not asking you to push fear away. It is inviting you to let fear sit without control. Fear loses its power when it is no longer obeyed. You may feel your thoughts beginning to blur at the edges. That is not losing awareness. That is entering rest. Light does not disappear when you sleep. It continues without your attention. Sacred Serenity sleep psalms are not meant to end with a sudden sense of clarity. They are meant to carry you gently into rest, where clarity is not required, where being held matters more than understanding. The Lord is your light. That means you do not have to create your own brightness. You do not have to stay optimistic. You do not have to convince yourself everything is fine. Light is given, not generated. Darkness often magnifies what feels unresolved. It makes tomorrow feel closer than it is. It makes worries feel louder than they are. Light does not eliminate those things instantly. It simply keeps them from overwhelming you. As Bible for Sleep continues softly, let the room feel less important. Let the thoughts lose urgency. Let the night become what it is meant to be, a place of restoration. You may notice a sense of warmth or heaviness in your body, or you may simply feel tired enough to stop thinking. Both are signs that rest is arriving. Jesus stays with you through the quiet moments you do not remember, through the hours you sleep deeply, through the moments you wake briefly and drift again. Staying does not depend on your awareness. Psalm 27 speaks of courage rising not from effort, but from trust. Trust that light remains even when eyes close. Trust that presence does not withdraw when sleep comes. There is no need to hurry sleep. Let it arrive naturally. Light does not require you to rush. It waits patiently. If your mind wanders, gently allow it. Do not pull it back. Do not follow it. Simply let it pass. Rest does not require focus. The light of the Lord is not something you must hold on to. It holds you, even now, especially now. There may be nights when you wake suddenly, unsure why. If that happens, return here. Return to the truth that you are not alone. Return to the knowledge that staying does not end. Jesus stays with you through every breath, through every pause, through every moment of stillness. You are not being watched from a distance. You are being accompanied. Sacred Serenity sleep psalms do not end when consciousness fades. They continue to do their work quietly, beneath awareness, where restoration happens without effort. You do not need to fear the darkness. Darkness is not stronger than light. Silence is not stronger than presence. Night is not stronger than care. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let your body sink deeper into rest. You are not missing anything important by sleeping. You are allowing what matters to continue without you holding it together. Psalm 27's sleep meditation reminds you that light is not something you chase. It is something you rest within. As the final words soften into the night, allow yourself to stop listening closely. You do not need to stay awake to receive reassurance. The Lord is your light, even now, even here, even as you sleep. Do not fear the darkness. I remain your light. Sleep now. I will stay.